Hamilton is not struggling at Barcelona because Ferrari forgot how to build speed. He is struggling because this Ferrari may be too intelligent for its own good. Active aero that changes the car's balance. Hybrid deployment that demands perfect timing. A setup window so narrow that one wrong choice can turn Hamilton's late-braking style from a weapon into a weakness. And the most shocking part is this. The same Barcelona data that once made Ferrari believe Hamilton could shape the car's brain may now be exposing the trap inside it. If the system lines up, Hamilton looks like the future of Ferrari. If it does not, he is trapped in a machine that gives him options, but not certainty. Subscribe to the channel. Barcelona is the worst place for Ferrari to discover that its most advanced idea still has a hidden weakness. Because this circuit does not expose cars with one dramatic failure. It exposes them slowly, corner by corner, lap by lap. The car starts by looking competitive, then the questions begin. Is the front wing transition arriving at the right moment? Is the rear staying calm when Hamilton commits underbraking? Is the electrical deployment helping him or forcing him to wait? Are the tires staying underneath him? Or are they overheating because the car is asking for tiny corrections every time the aero state changes? That is why Hamilton's struggle is so dangerous. It does not have to look like disaster. It can look like hesitation. A tenth lost on entry. A little correction through the middle of the corner. A slightly weaker exit. A battery deployment that arrives in a place where he cannot fully use it. A rear end that feels stable in one phase of the lap, then less predictable in the next. None of those moments look huge by themselves. But at Barcelona, they stack up. And once they stack up, the car stops feeling like a weapon and starts feeling like a negotiation. That is the trap. Ferrari have built a car with enormous theoretical intelligence. Active aerodynamics on the front and rear wings. A power unit that demands extreme efficiency. A new suspension philosophy. A software-driven car that can change its personality depending on the straight, the corner, the conditions, and the driver's input. In theory, that gives Hamilton more ways to unlock lap time. But in practice, it gives the car more ways to disagree with him. And Hamilton is not the kind of driver who can ignore that. He feels everything. The smallest instability on entry. The moment the rear starts to lose trust. The way the car rotates when the front aero changes. The exact point where energy comes in on exit. That sensitivity is one of the reasons he became a champion so many times. But in a car this complex, sensitivity can become painful. Because he feels the trap before everyone else can see it. That is why this Ferrari problem is not simple. Is not just understeer. Is not just oversteer. Is not just poor traction or missing straight line speed. Those are traditional problems. Drivers understand them. Engineers know where to look. A team can say we need more front end, or we need more rear stability, or we need to reduce drag. But Hamilton's Barcelona issue is deeper. The car may be changing too much, too often, in ways that make it hard to build absolute confidence. And confidence is everything for his driving style. Hamilton needs a car that supports commitment on corner entry. He likes to brake late, carry speed in, and trust that the rear will stay with him while he asks the front to bite. When that balance is there, he can be brutally efficient. He does not need to slide the car around. He does not need dramatic corrections. He can make the lap look smooth, calm, and almost effortless. But if the rear is not giving him that trust, the whole rhythm breaks. He brakes a fraction earlier. He rotates the car with more caution. He waits before going to full power. And suddenly, the lap time that should be there disappears in pieces. That is exactly why Barcelona is such a cruel test. The fast corners punish uncertainty. The tires punish sliding. The long runs punish overheating. The straights punish poor energy timing. The whole circuit rewards a car that feels connected from the moment the driver turns into the moment he exits. If Ferrari's active aero system gives Hamilton a slightly different balance than he expects, even for a fraction of a second, the lap begins to unravel. And the brutal truth is that Ferrari may have made this problem harder by being ambitious. The 2026 Ferrari is not conservative, is a break from the past. Double pushrod suspension at both ends. A new packaging philosophy. A new relationship between mechanical platform and active aerodynamics. A power unit built around the new fuel and hybrid demands. A car that has to live without the old motor generator unit heat, relying heavily on the motor generator unit kinetic to recover and deploy energy. That is a lot of change at once. And when a team changes that much, the performance window can become narrow. A narrow window is terrifying for a driver. When the car is inside it, everything feels connected. The front responds. The rear supports. The energy arrives at the right time. The tires stay alive. The driver feels like he can push without asking for permission. But when the car falls outside that window, nothing is completely broken, yet nothing feels fully right. That is the worst kind of car to drive, because the driver can sense the lap time. He knows it exists. He can almost touch it. But every time he reaches for it, one part of the system moves away. That is why Hamilton can look frustrated even in a Ferrari that has genuine potential. The car is not dead, is alive in a complicated way. It has performance, but the performance is conditional. It requires harmony between the active aero timing, suspension behavior, energy deployment, tire temperature, and driver style. And harmony is fragile, especially at Ferrari, because Hamilton is not alone in shaping this car. Leclerc has his own needs, his own authority, and his own history inside the team. Ferrari have known Leclerc for years. He understands the team, and the team understands him. He likes a car that rotates. He can tolerate a sharper rear if it gives him the ability to place the car aggressively through the middle of the corner. Hamilton asks for something else. Stability first. Trust first. Then he can attack. That difference matters more in 2026 than it would have in an older car. Because now, setup is not only mechanical, is also software behavior, is the timing of aero states, is how the car transitions from low drag to high downforce, is how the energy system supports the rear tires when the driver goes back to power. So when Ferrari adjusts the car toward Leclerc's preferred rotation, they may take away the stable platform Hamilton needs. And when they adjust toward Hamilton's preferred stability, they may reduce the sharpness Leclerc wants. That is the internal trap. Ferrari can pretend this is just healthy competition, and in some ways it is. Two elite drivers should push each other. Two different styles can help a team understand the car better. But when the performance window is narrow, different styles can also pull the team apart. Not emotionally at first. Technically, one side of the garage asks for one kind of car. The other side asks for another. The engineers try to find a compromise. The compromise works in the simulator. Then Barcelona exposes the compromise on track. The car is not unstable enough to abandon, is not stable enough for Hamilton to fully commit. It is not sharp enough for Leclerc to dominate. It becomes a car stuck between two philosophies. That is where Hamilton's weekend can begin to spiral. He does not need a disaster to lose confidence. He only needs the car to keep sending mixed signals. In one run, the rear supports him. In another, it moves. In one corner, the active aero transition feels clean. In another, it unsettles the entry. In one deployment phase, the power arrives smoothly. In another, it disturbs the rear tires. The driver starts asking questions. The engineers start checking data. The team starts comparing both cars. And suddenly, a weekend that should have been about performance becomes about understanding. That word is dangerous. Understanding sounds calm, but in Formula One it often means the team does not yet have the answer. Ferrari cannot afford too many weekends like that. Mercedes are already strong. Red Bull are fighting their own regulatory problems. McLaren are pushing. Every race matters. And Hamilton did not come to Ferrari to spend the new era explaining why the car might be fast later. He came to win. That is what makes the Barcelona trap so painful. The source of the problem may be the same thing that made Ferrari excited in the first place. During the earlier Barcelona work, Hamilton's telemetry reportedly matched the simulator extremely well. That would have encouraged Ferrari. It meant the tools were working. It meant Hamilton could help validate the car. It meant the team had a driver capable of connecting sensation and data in a way engineers could use. But strong correlation can create a dangerous belief. The belief that the team understands the car better than it actually does. A simulator can predict behavior under controlled assumptions. The track adds wind, temperature, tire evolution, driver confidence, traffic, surface changes, and pressure. Barcelona adds long corners that load the tires again and again. What works in a model can still feel difficult when Hamilton is trying to attack the lap with a rival closing and the car shifting aerodynamic states beneath him. That is why the trap is so subtle. Ferrari may trust the numbers. Hamilton may feel the risk. And when those two disagree, the driver is the one left fighting the car. This is not about Hamilton refusing to adapt. He has adapted his whole career. He adapted to different tires, different rules, different teammates, different Mercedes concepts, and now a completely different Ferrari culture. Adaptation is not the issue. The issue is whether the Ferrari gives him a stable enough foundation to use his adaptation. There is a difference. A driver can learn a new car. but he cannot fully trust a car that keeps changing its answers. That is why active aero is such a powerful but dangerous tool. When it works, it lets the car become slippery on the straight and planted in the corner. It gives teams a way to chase efficiency without sacrificing too much downforce. It creates lap time from intelligence rather than brute force. But when it is not perfectly synchronized, it can disturb the driver's rhythm. The car may feel like it has two personalities, one for the straight, one for the corner, and the handover between those personalities becomes the critical moment. For Hamilton, that handover is everything, because his corner entry is built on trust. If he turns in expecting one level of rear support and receives another, he has to correct. If he corrects, the tires suffer. If the tires suffer, the next corner becomes harder. If the next corner becomes harder, the energy deployment on exit becomes less useful. If the deployment is less useful, the straight suffers. One small uncertainty becomes a full lap problem. That is Barcelona, a circuit that turns small uncertainties into visible gaps. And once the gap appears, the Leclerc comparison becomes unavoidable. If Leclerc can live with a sharper car, he may extract more from the same imperfect balance in qualifying. If Hamilton needs more stability, he may look like he is waiting on the car. That does not mean Leclerc is simply better. It means the car's current state may be rewarding one kind of discomfort over another. This is how narratives start. Hamilton is struggling. Leclerc understands Ferrari better. Hamilton cannot adapt. Ferrari made the wrong move. Those stories are easy, but they miss the real point. Hamilton's struggle, if the car falls out of its window, is not proof he has lost anything. Is proof that Ferrari's new concept demands exact alignment. And exact alignment is hard when the car is still being shaped around two very different drivers. That is why Fred Vasseur's job is so complicated. He has to protect Hamilton's confidence without making Leclerc feel sidelined. He has to give engineers a clear direction without shutting down useful feedback from either side. He has to let both drivers race without letting their preferences split development. And he has to do all of this while Ferrari are under the kind of scrutiny that only Ferrari can create.